Hello and welcome to episode 17 of our Timberborn 1.0 Waterbeavers playthrough, cycle 16, day 14. Got a drought coming up in just a little bit, and we have so many things to do, as we always do in these videos, but I think it would be a smart idea today to take a little bit of time to try to organize a few things. Yes, clean up pathing networks just a little bit, and try to solve a couple of nagging problems in creative ways, or at least efficient ways. So, we're going to find out how long of a drought we're going to have in just a moment, but remember it's normal mode, so it's not going to be bad. We have kind of overbuilt, as many of you have said, the amount of lumberjack barns up here, and I don't know that I want to, take this stuff out necessarily. But we've got plenty that we can improve and take advantage of the infrastructure we built out already without making it worse until it has to be. So, let's go ahead and get this into the start of our drought here, find out just how long that's going to be. 6 days. Alright, so we probably are not going to need to worry too much about keeping water from being pumped out of here. But you might have noticed that this area has been fully depleted, which means lumberjack barn goes away, and now we have all of this space here that we can plant actual crops on. And an idea that I really liked, that at least one or two people suggested, was when we do get the large farmhouse built, we should put it kind of in the middle of this area here. And that would allow us, I know you can't really see it range-wise unless I put it in the exact right spot, that would allow us to put in a truly just gigantic quantity of nenufars, lotuses, etc. And it would allow us to put in a zipline station for the island without it being a huge pain in the butt. I like that idea. But before we get too far, I was told that I'm duplicating the wrong blueprint, but there isn't a different one for water wheels. They both use the large water wheel blueprint, so yeah. Improved water wheel. So they're the same blueprint, and this is the one I was trying to build, so that's why that's being done. Not entirely sure what that was about, but regardless, we press on. This can be removed. We've got these things here that can all be emptied out and slowly modified, but like I said, we've got some pathing that should probably be improved. I'm not sure exactly how much we can really do, to be perfectly honest with you. Seems to be kind of a popular thing that people say, hey, your paths are terrible and you need to do something about it. Well, honestly, these really aren't that bad. Like, they've been much, much, much worse. But I will humor you, and I'll attempt to straighten some things out. Like, I know this is substantially not ideal, and there's a lot of stuff happening here with the paths that could be pretty easily solved, or at least mitigated, by putting a zipline station in this area here. But again, we just kind of have to do what we have to do at the time that we have to do it, and that's just the way it goes. I was also told I missed cutting a couple trees, and so I did. Those are done there. This area here needs to be able to retain water. This is a clean water seep. This is actually set up pretty well if we wanted to put in a floodgate dam right here. Would not be very difficult to just blow this up and then have this tied to a weather station once automation is enabled, to raise this when there's a bad tide so it doesn't get super polluted, and then lower it every other time. And then as this comes down here, we could also see if I can, yeah, see a spot like right about here would hold a decent amount of water in here to keep these trees growing. Same kind of thing right here. They're basically the perfect size already, minus this one spot. I'm not actually sure if I can build that without having the land underneath, but it doesn't say I can't do it. So maybe we'll keep that in mind for the future here. I also talked about expanding the zipline stations over here. But I do agree that this area here is woefully underserved as far as zipline connections, and we need to do something about it. One of the other things that we really need to do going back and forth between some of these things, is we need to stop pumping all of our water from this area here, especially since this is irrigating all of this, and if we're going to be putting nenifars and stuff in here, those really hate not being in too deep things of water. So, we've got space up here that most of the time is pretty reasonably, full of water, and this area right here is already set up pretty nicely for us to put in some new water pumps. But here's the problem we're going to run into, is that each of these, again, are a house. So, before we build anything else, I don't want to build any more of these water pumps because these are not as efficient. I want to unlock the deep water pumps and build these instead, because these are 4 units of water per hour instead of 3. And the upgrades, of course... wait, do the upgrades... Okay, that's the same thing. But this is just going to be so much better, and it's going to make it so that we have to have fewer of them to get the same amount of water, or we're going to have the same amount of them to get, what is it, like 33% more water? It just makes sense. This Grand Dam is a magnificent, like, Archimedes screw type building. We can't do that quite yet, because there's a bunch of stuff missing, but I know I keep saying all these different things. We're going to do this, and sometimes we end up not doing it, and that's annoying, but we're going to do it. So, deep water pump. Before I hit unlock, let's just make absolutely sure we can build it. We've got logs, yes. We've got planks. We've got the scrap metal. We've got metal fasteners. We have technically not enough pine resin, but that problem will become less of an issue as time goes by. And we do not have tar. But tar is another one of those things that will become slowly not as big of a problem. I'm going to go ahead and unlock these and start placing them. Let's make sure... Let's see. How many of these? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I could do 6 if I wanted to put something in here. I think for right now, 5 of these is fine. Down here, we do have... Oh, 5. Perfect. So I think the idea is to get rid of most of these and replace them with stuff up here. Obviously, these have to be built first, and they have to be able to be accessed, so on and so forth. But this is not that far from everything else in terms of, our housing stack that we've got here and some of the food storage, and especially these things up here. I think this is worth doing. We just have to get down into here. Again, not a big deal. Especially if we go ahead and research the platforms, which I probably should have done before I researched those. It's fine. I'm going to be alright. Just see how I want to approach this. I could send them down here. I don't want that to be the thing that they're relying on. So what I will do, at least for right now, is just pop in here. That doorway is going to probably not be super... Okay, well, you know what? That'll work enough for right now to get us into this space. I'm not going to attach these with paths because I don't want them populating here yet, but they can start building them. That is going to be something we're working on. Right here, we've got nenifars being made into methane. The methane, of course, is going up to our workshop, which, hide this, is supposed to be making laboratory glassware. You might notice that there is absolutely nothing here. Well, we need to fix that. And that's, I think, could just be an effect of, this hasn't been emptied out yet. But we do need to get a couple more nenifars, which are being made, thankfully, right here in the florist, so that we can make more methane, so that we can make this, so that we can have another laboratory glassware, so we can make another alchemist, so we can have multiple recipes going at the same time. Right now, this is supposed to be making tar, which, as you may have guessed, requires pine resin, like almost everything else. And that is why we were working here. But this, obviously, is not irrigated, and it will not be irrigated unless we come in and build an irrigation lodge or an irrigating elevated public bath. Is also a thing we haven't researched yet, so we can't really do it. But we got options. I think, and yes, again, everything requires pine resin. But if I had a better spot to stick this on the same level, then that I think would be ideal. But I'm not going to get all of this at once, and we're not going to have the pine resin to build this, so I think I'll just wait the extra 5 days to have this continue. But there are some of these that are decently close to being finished. They are not marked for cutting, except actually a couple of these were. Let's fix that. While we're here, this is a good suggestion somebody made. I know I'm jumping around back and forth. Just bear with me here. Suspension bridge here to get to this other side and get just a little bit more range as a good suggestion, and also helps us not have to deal with bad water quite as much. So that's a thing. We have the medium mine going, making quartz, which is good because we absolutely needed that. There was a comment left on the last video asking if it would be possible to put tunnels into the side of the mine. I'm not going to do that during a video, but I did want to show you why I don't think that's really possible, because this is part of the building, and I don't think you can go through the side of the building. If we peel this back, you can see that this is basically the lowest possible level. If I try to drag into it, not happening. If I try to go through here, though, where the doorway is, that may actually work. But I don't know if the building could actually be placed without all that stuff being excavated just because of the clearance concerns. But it is theoretically possible, looking at this, for us to put a tunnel in from below after the building's already built. I'm not going to do it in a video, though. So, continuing along here, I do need to check which one of these was making the farmhouse. Was this one? Yeah, 74%. Once that's done, we do want to probably start the process of making one of these. At one point in time, there was a waterproofing module you could build for the large farmhouse. I don't know that that is the thing anymore that you can do. This also isn't telling me... I don't have anywhere I can really stick this to test this, do I? Okay, so that says flooded. If I have one that is 1 deep, will that tell me? I don't have anything that's 1 deep except here. Yeah, it still says flooded. No, that's the same. That's the same thing. But that is, it looks like... yeah, you know what? This is a partial amount. This is not going to work because the building is flooded, unless it's one of those that is saying it's flooded, but it's actually not flooded. But I'm not going to build it and find out and then have to tear it down and then rebuild it again. So there you go. Yell at me in the comments if I'm actually wrong. That's fine. 53%. Yeah, I think I'm going to want to put it here, again, like I said, to get access to a truly enormous quantity of Nennephars and to give a zipline station access here. In terms of orientation, trying to see, because we know putting this right about here, even though it's not going to allow me to build there, gives me almost the entirety of this lower bowl area. It's too deep over here to grow rice, because remember going to put additional farms over here. We might still do that. I think based on this, it would make sense to put a farmhouse here, which, depending on how we wanted to do this, I'd have to build an additional level on top of all of this, because it's, what is this, a 4x4? It looks like it is a 4x4 building. Yeah, 4x4. Which actually... I know this isn't going to fit here because of doorways, but that would work there. Yeah, see, these boards are just here because, you know, I was supposed to have something there. But I'm thinking right behind the library with the doorway facing this way is going to make sense, which means we can have something underneath that can be flooded, or multiple somethings underneath that can be flooded, like a handicrafter's lodge. When I say flooded, I mean submerged, not actually flooded, because that's a building condition. So let's see. Do I want to... Because remember, I said I was going to try to organize some of these things. Do I want to put in handicrafter's lodges, or maybe I could try the... Was it the seamstress, rope maker? This... Oh, okay, that's got a top to it. Because that's absolutely not going to work. That's the old model for the... Oh, is that the methane generator used a model that looked like that? Okay, so we absolutely can't use these for this purpose. That's unfortunate. But now, you know, I'm curious. I'm just really, really curious. Maybe I do have to just put handicrafters in, because at some point we're going to want to have extra handicrafters. That is a known thing. We also, if we really wanted to, you know, be weird about this, I could put in these mechanized kitchen. That's not the... There it is. Industrial kitchen. We could put something right here and then build on top of it, but it's got weird smokestacks and stuff that come out of it. So I think for what we're attempting to do... does this connect all the way through? It does. Okay, I can actually get rid of these things. I got to be careful not to... what is it? Shift backspace all of the actual materials here. So, Handicrafter's Lodge does seem like it is probably the best thing to stick here. So, and this one does say building flooded too, but yeah, I'm just going to pop 2 of these here, and then all I will have to do is build platforms here, and then I can put, because this is never going to get any taller than this, the water will, I can put the large farmhouse on top, facing this way, of course, with the other platform here, and then get the pathing connected appropriately. It looks like this would actually be a good place to put a regular staircase. Talking about improving pathing, put a regular staircase here, have this connected. This can then probably, since it's going to be connected to a zip line, come back up to be met with the rest of the thing here. Yeah, I'm just gonna do this. I know that's not going to connect anywhere there. That's fine. Just trying to make this as stupid free as possible that I can actually get away with. So that's going to get done. Now remember, I have to have, before I do anything else building wise, I have to have either the double platform or the regular platforms that I can stack to put here. Or another building, but I don't think I want to open that can of worms. I just want to try to optimize some of this. So Handicrafter's Lodge moved here either means I can take this out and redo this whole thing, or I can just have extra production. We'll see. 80% done there. Large water wheels, I've got 5 improved blueprints. I think it would be in our best interest to have another scroll display where we can put some of those. These are not expensive to build, so I'm not going to be worried about it. This is a spot that I might as well just shove something in here. That is giant log dam, floodgate dam. Where's the water wheel one? Beaver washing machine, we'll have to do that one. There we go. Improved water wheel, fancy blueprints. Let's do that. They'll get to it at some point. They made progress here, not really, because we don't have the pine resin or the tar. That we're not going to have pine resin there. We have some pine resin here. These aren't watered because this wasn't finished because we didn't have enough tar. Again, predictable outcomes for predictable things. We will get there. It will get better at some point in time. But seeing this goes here, these can't reach up here. If I were to, again, research the requisite platforms to put these completely over the water, might be something that's worth doing. Or what we could do, remember what I was talking about putting zip lines in, we could do the unholy nonsense of just a whole bunch of these in a row and just have one tile over the water. I think, honestly, that's probably fine. If I did 3, what was it going to be? 3 of these here, and then, was it going to be an irrigation lodge, or was it going to be... It's going to be something else, because irrigation lodge does need to be on the water. I'm pretty... Or not the water, on the ground, yeah. So that would be... Alright, I know it irritates the crap out of some of you when I hit pause, but look. We're going to get it done without getting stuff built that doesn't need to be built. If I put in irrigation lodge here, and it touches all of this, this actually has a decent, for this area at least, a decent area of effect. This one reaches to here. I also at one point talked about putting one of these in, because that has a really good range. But I still haven't researched that, so maybe I shouldn't worry about it. The thing that I'm trying to do is I'm trying to hook it up to these incredibly good zipline station upgrades that have 4 connections. And those have to go on a triangle building. And I also want to have the farmhouse upgrade. Farm upgrade, nerdy attic. Okay, that's one for the thing that's in a couple different spots. See, we're going to need to have the manpower to harvest stuff. And it needs to not be a complete mess. We also, as we learned in the previous playthrough, we did in Update 6, need to kind of compartmentalize the farmers from the nenifars that we don't want them to continuously cut and replant. We want them to be able to get lotus flowers from some of them that are never replanted or taken out or anything. We want some of them to just be constantly torn out. You take a look at how these are set up. You get the nenifars after 8 days, and then you have to tear those out to get those, or you don't tear them out, and then you get the flowers on top of it. There are different use cases for different things, and of course there's different recipes. We're probably going to be fine just using the nenifars for the time being, but there will come a point in time where we will have to separate this so that some of them are not harvested constantly. Just out of curiosity. Yeah, the fried rice needs the lotus flowers. The tea needs the... Oh, because it's lotus flower tea, of course. And then the mushroom stew. And then the deluxe stew needs both. So, it's one of those things that's going to be a problem, but it's not going to be a worse problem than the problem that creates it. If that makes sense. So, all of that to say, it's going to be alright. I don't think we need to be super worried about it. I do want to try and see if this will work in terms of putting the irrigation thing down. Yeah, see, this is angry because it can't go on the ground. So that's fine. I also, I don't have to have it all the way back here, but I do want to have as much of this space as possible. Yeah, and there's multiple reasons why, everybody's best ideas don't always work perfectly for what I'm trying to do, and it's just one of those things. I just gotta pick something that works, and I can't always do everything everybody wants. That's just the way life goes. Oh, did I get this backwards? I absolutely did. Alright, well, this just got more interesting. I somehow always forget that. I don't want to turn these around this way because obviously that's going to make it difficult to actually reach things. But to put the tower on the left is going to be kind of the opposite issue that we have here. Because these don't have to be on the ground, but the irrigation thing absolutely does. And it just has to be on the left, huh? Because I already have that. And I did talk about this to a certain extent, about wanting to maybe just move one of these or get rid of it or replace this with another irrigation thing and then just not really worry about it. Because these farmhouses, by the way, can go up, as you see here, but they can't reach everything. There's so much that goes into this. You're not going to solve every problem all at the same time. But I have to do something, and I know I just need to move on and do something else for a little bit and come back to that. I think this is fine to have 3. Obviously, they can't really do much here. That's what it is. This is slowly invading space. Well, it'll get cleaned up eventually. Cereal bars are being put in here, but the rice balls still have yet to leave because the beavers are not eating the rice balls. That was one of those things I was attempting to do by building other warehouses in other spots. So I'll just build one more for the rice balls, try to get that out of there so we can put the cereal bars in there. I was warned that the cereal bars will deplete a lot of water really quickly just as soon as they have a place to go. But should be okay long term. Yeah, at this point we kind of just have to get these zip lines up and running so we can take some of these paths away. Get these, of course, pine resin, what else? Are there any other trees I can try to get resin from? Absolutely not. There's 0 other pine trees. Well, at least we still have these. These, of course, are still dry because that wasn't finished because we don't have enough pine resin. These are not easily accessible. I really only get 1 tree out of that, so that's not worth worrying about. Can I? If I built a couple of towers, can I get something here? That's not the one I need to really worry about, though. Yeah, at this point, we just kind of have to... Oh, hey! We have laboratory glassware. We have another one. Good, 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 good. You know what that means. It means we can build another alchemist, and I think I want to put it right next door, which means Handicrafter's Lodge has to move for that to happen, and I don't want to be shuffling around multiple spots. We're going to ideally want to be making all of these at one time, but we don't have endothermic essence, so we can't make the ice yet. I want to have 4 alchemists, I think, is a decent goal for the near term. It may not be able to be on the Island of Knowledge. It might not be large enough unless we expand it. But I do want to have 4 of those, so we don't have to keep changing stuff for distilleries. We obviously don't need everything, making every single recipe for the strong alcohol, but we do 100% need pollution resistance factor, some recipe for strong alcohol, and ideally, once we get the bamboo, that's what the thing is second from the bottom. Once we get that, we're going to need a couple of them making endothermic essence because that stuff goes quick in the late game recipes. But for now, 2 distilleries is fine, and that's what we have. They're probably just going to have to move. And remember, I said I was going to redo this anyway. But we just need to do what we need to do. Other food-wise, I think, honestly, for right now, this is okay. I don't want to temporarily, make something better if it's actually just going to make it worse. And I'm thinking maybe... Yeah, because the rice is fooling me because otherwise dimensions get weird. Yeah, having to have the farms in front, one tile, like right here to connect up to the towers is really kind of debilitating. Unless I don't want an irrigation station, which honestly, you know what? Probably don't need... Yeah, probably don't need to have the irrigation station, actually. And in the interest of, actually accomplishing something that's not going to be completely stupid, if... I know, quit changing your mind. Zipline station here would not be the end of the world, but it does have slightly reduced range. Other buildings we could put here, tower-wise. I wish there was a thing I could just click on to have all the tower buildings at once instead of digging for them. That'd be great. I don't want them building that, but I can't keep pausing or else we're not going to get anything done. Harvester's drying tower. No, that's an upgrade. Like, all these farm things, there's not really an upgrade for. It's a cottage. That's an office. That's just a flat. That's another thing I maybe could have put there. Ooh, this one, yeah, this one gathers lotus flowers. Actually, minty bamboo shoots. So that's something we maybe could have put somewhere right here, but I think that's fine enough to put there. Forester we really don't need or want over here, but that is a tower building to get us the upgrades that we want. Tapper Shack we already talked about. Planification Lodge already talked about, can't do that. Logging Loft is an upgrade. Metal-wise, not something we want to mess with. Forge we already talked about. Scavenger's Junkyard already talked about. Workshop, assembly line. Change this? No. Yeah, there's really not that many other options for us. Calculatorium is its own can of worms. We already talked about the weather station being an upgrade. It's just, man, the upgrade for the zip lines is just, it's too good. Like, it does not make any sense not to build this if you can at all attempt to build it. So the irrigation station isn't really necessary because it's... If you need it, then everything in here is already dead, and if we're already moving the pumping away and it's only a 9-day drought maximum anyway, then it doesn't really need to exist. But I gotta have something that can go here. None of this can do that. They're not all the right shape at all. Monuments, obviously not, but... I know balloons, trader landing pads, the same, kind of. These are all different. We already looked at the lodges. Nuclear press, that's a can of worms for later on. We already looked at the rope makers. Handcrafters lodge, seamstress lodge. Yeah, you know, advanced worm storage. Yeah, we really don't have other options at all besides just the zipline station or the irrigation thing or the forester. Unless... No, it's a tower upgrade. I always want to look at that as something else. Builder lodge, no. Tower upgrade. Storage, no. Yep, so... Alright. Shut up and do it. I know, look, I'm trying. I really am. We're just gonna have to bite the bullet and do it, folks. But I don't have to have all three of these next to each other. That I absolutely do not have to do. But I do want to try and maximize the spatial utility of this. Yeah, you know what? Let's... No, putting that there would be too far out. Because I need this to also be able to... Alright, let's just do this. If I put a farmhouse here, this guy can reach basically everything here. These guys, if I don't remove them, I can just kind of leave that there. And I maybe could put some other stuff. Anyway, right here, just building this and getting it over with instead of talking about it. Plus adding the zipline station upgrade. Instantly fixes a bunch of stuff. Now, can I get here? No, because the maximum range from the pylon is 20 meters. Could I get to here? Unknown, because the thing has not been built yet that would go here. But what I can do, in the meantime, just to get something connected, period point blank, is start putting some of these in other locations. Like right here, connecting this, 20 meters, that is the absolute longest distance you can go. I don't want that, come on. This here is 27, which means that this is not a viable thing. If I want to put a thing in the middle, then that might be my best bet to just make a straight line thing. Or, how far can I go? Can I go far enough to put something? I can, actually, if I put a thing that has just a regular zipline tower here. That might be a viable option. The other consideration that I had was possibly just taking a farmhouse out and the upgrade out here and putting in a zipline regular tower to connect here and here, so we have another thing there. Honestly, I could do that, and I could just blast this out here and move another farmhouse this way, which would give it a tiny bit more range. And I probably don't want to open that can of worms. If I... See, it's just the upgrade configuration is very, very, very tempting. I really want this to be accessible from here, and it might not work out that way. I don't know. We're gonna see. There's just so many things that have to go into doing this, and it's very hard for me to do live and not, you know, make mistakes constantly. All right, let's just triple speed this because there's not much else we can really do except wait to get stuff built at this point. Just have to let it be what it's going to be. I need to make sure that this is... Okay, that's almost done. This obviously is waiting on pine resin, which, again, everything is waiting on pine resin. Blueprints are waiting on not pine resin? Ah, they're waiting on brain-boosting salts, which currently are not being made. I can swap this over, most likely. And we do have some bad water, so we can make a little bit. That'll get that finished up. Keep that monitored there. Got 5 improved water wheel blueprints. And then this has to keep duplicating. I've got actually too many of these. I can just shut the copyist lodge down and have them just fancify these. I think that would be a better use of time. Brain boosting salts. Just give me one more so I can start the beaver washing machine blueprint. That would be great. Please and thank you. Okay, they did end up building this. I was thinking about maybe not doing that. Anyway. Point being, this can actually start planting stuff now. Cabbages. We've got sunflowers. Sunflowers honestly aren't looking horrible. So what we will probably need to do, because we're going to have access from the large farmhouse to some of this area as well for harvesting. If it's hooked up to a zip line, so it's not really going to matter too much. But I think I'm just going to make all of this back here cabbage. And then the middle can just be filled in with more sunflowers. I'll go... Yeah, I'll do... I forgot about this tree. You know what? I'm not going to bring somebody back out to get rid of it. I'm just going to get rid of it. That would be a thing. Teeth grindstone doesn't have to be here anymore because we're not cutting over here. But I do need to have one somewhere over here. Need to make sure I'm keeping that... yeah, just put that there. This is not going to be cut down. That's fine. Are they filling all of these up and we're just waiting on tar? Pine resin. No pine resin. Okay, well, I do need all of these built at some point, so that's fine. 1.6 days. Yeah, this has to be cabbages. Alright, this will help, and yes, we are going to have more. Don't worry, we're going to have more farmers. I just want to put them down here, or somewhat not taking up a bunch of space. Even if it ends up just being me putting in more stuff here and here, and I only lose these couple of spots. Get that done. This path, if I am able to do what I want to do, it probably can go away. And they can just attach themselves to whatever spaces they can actually fit. This is alright. It's looking okay. I know the chestnuts we're not really doing too much with. These paths over here, kind of, if this is going to get connected with a zip line, don't need to exist. This honestly right now is not completely horrible. Considering what it was and what it could be, definitely not the worst thing. Do I have ropes? Not quite. I need the ropes to do that, otherwise I was going to put a thing on here and then try to get that hooked up to something else. Yep, back to faster speed we go. Just got to get these guys rolling on taking care of everything else. Yeah, this can't really reach everything. I guess probably what's going to have to happen is I just need to suck it up and research the regular platforms and just move on with my life here. Because I've got 38 of them, which is, you know, it's not nothing. But, it's... okay. Yeah, we're just going to have to do that. Just to get something rolling here without it being an enormous pain in the butt. Okay, so that actually can't reach back here anymore. So why? Okay, whatever. I'm not that pressed about it. Here and here can still reach most of this stuff, can help with these. Assuming I have a way to get down here. Which, honestly, I think what I'm going to end up having to do is move this staircase here. And then this not being completely straight is not really going to matter. So we can always just bring this in underneath here and actually save a little bit of space. I know it is ugly. Life will go on. We will somehow manage to survive. You know, taking this out of here, if I disconnect here, I mean, this is also accessible via some other kind of zip line, that would be great. I think cereal bar production probably needs to go somewhere else because this is farmable space, but for right now this is kind of alright. I've got 4 laboratory glassware. We can probably stop making these. How about some metal cauldrons? Let's go for metal cauldrons because I know we're going to need those to make the advanced cooking. Probably want to do another anvil or two, but making more metal cauldrons is a very good use of our time and resources here. Those are not done. That's fine. We're still working. Okay, this is finished. Giant log dam blueprints. I don't have giant logs. Irrigating elevated public bath probably should be next. But we do have the large farmhouse blueprints. We need to now fancify these. I was going to try to get most of these. Oh, okay, 30 of those is quite a lot. How many do I have left in here? I guess I'll just let them finish fancifying the improved water wheel blueprints, and then I can set these up. Let me go ahead and change this to large farmhouse. Looks like there's 2 of these left. They'll do that the next day at the start of cycle 17. And then we'll see what we can get ourselves into. This is waiting on tar. Okay. We made brain boosting salts, and we know they finished that. I'm going to turn this back to tar, even though I know we don't really have enough pine resin to do it. Still got to get it done. We'll get there. It's going to be okay. Okay, other thing I hadn't considered is maybe I should have just put the staircase here. I think it's going to be alright. So now we have cycle 17, which means we're going to get some more water in here, which means these trees can grow up, which means it's almost time for us to have a lot of pine trees getting resin. But we've got some other problems here, and one of them is we've got 33 beavers who are, or 33 jobs who are not beavered. Because we have 32 incapacitated beavers. We have 11 contaminated, 13 with mild disease, 11 injuries. Which you may have already guessed, probably because we don't have medical balm. Unfortunately, I have an extreme case of get-it-done-itis, where I just don't want to remove stuff to do temporary fixes. I'd rather just have it be done correctly, quote-unquote. So stuff doesn't always get done super fast. We will build more of these eventually. Okay, this one has now finished. Going to go ahead and put this on large farmhouse. We don't have 75 science yet to get to this. I think part of that is... Well, we've got logs on top of there. Part of that is because, hey, guess what? We don't have brain boosting salts. And if I want to change this back to the default recipe, I'd have to have the mushrooms, which I do. Alright, for now, let's just change this back to the regular recipe so we can at least make some science. Try to, slowly improve things here. Okay, how are we looking on nenifars? We still making nenifars, kind of? Okay, that's going. Don't have workers available. That's fine. We don't need them. This can now be removed, and then this can just be pulled back to there. We'd probably benefit from having this go straight out all the way into here, and then coming up. I know this, look, nothing is ever going to be perfect. Just please promise me that you'll understand that. Just put this straight through here. The aromatic burner is going to go somewhere else. That does not have to be in that spot. Where did that come from, anyway? Aromatic burner. Okay, I feel like that should be, Ah, here it is. It has the campfire logo. That's why I couldn't tell what it was. Okay, that's got to be a thing there. Well, I'm not producing those right now anyway, so I don't need to be that worried about it. We will be. But this going straight through here is just a massive upgrade compared to having to go all the way around. That also means we won't need this coming through here. I won't take it out yet, though. I want to make sure this can actually be usable first. I do need to go ahead and get... Probably... This just does not seem like a great use of these. But, oh well. I have to be able to build my stupid farmhouse. So, 4 here is going to get us the actual farmhouse built on top. That's going to fit just like that. And then, actually, I don't need these. I know. I know. It's going to be okay. I don't need those to be what they're going to be there. I only have to have access this way. So that is what I'm going to do. Just make this as relatively idiot-free as I possibly can. Have that go around that way. Make sure this is actually the correct... Yes. Yeah, that's gonna be fine. This will work. Because that'll give us zipline access through here to come up there. That'll be fine. I know it's only a one-way thing. Gotta get the rest of this done. They are not coming through here. That's because that's not done. But we should see, ideally, a lot of beavers taking this path straight. There are still some going this way. Once these move, that probably won't be as big of an issue. Yeah, they're using it, though, which is good. Okay, still haven't done anything here because, you know, surprise, surprise. Tar. Okay, still need 25 more here. If I can just get them to build the handicraft, you know, I could just prioritize it, honestly. Just to be finished with it. These are at 84, 87, that's fine. I do need to get dams in here, and this is going to be poison water at some point if I don't also build something here. But, you know, again, we don't have enough stuff to do it. Gotta be able to do the bare minimum for a whole bunch of stuff before we can do anything, which is obviously a problem. Alright, what do we have here? 3 zipline undone, 1 fancy large farmhouse. This one has not been unpaused. Okay, these got built. This has not been built because guess what? Pine resin. But now at least we have more farmers working on food things. We can hopefully improve a whole lot more without it being a crazy pain in the butt. Part of the reason I moved this staircase, if you hadn't already figured that out, was to put another staircase here so that these guys could get to all of this. That will help massively. And yeah, I talked about moving this. The primitive mine for the salt does not have to be here, but when this was making rice balls, it made perfect sense. There is no salt required for cereal bars, but the cereal bars also don't have to be made here. We'll be able to move more stuff around in time as things get kind of sorted. I know the access here to here was a big problem. Here to over here was a big problem. This should help. Getting across here. I could have just built more stairs and just had this connect straight down, but this theoretically was, in my mind's eye, for better or for worse, a better alternative. That's working out. I'm really impatient about these pine trees here. But maybe what I should be doing instead of making tar is making more medical balm. Oh. Never mind, it's pine resin again. Come on, pine trees. You're our only hope. There's nothing else we can really do short of pine trees. Alright, getting this mess completely fixed up is going to be a big help. Removing these pumps is going to be a big help in terms of sorting this out, but I can't really do that until these can be built, which, guess what? I don't need to say it. But getting some balm is really going to help things out, assuming they can even make any. That could be prioritized by hellers. We already have a ton of them. What else are we looking for over here? We're still at 89. Okay. Just stop checking on that. These guys going. We still need more mushrooms, although we're not out. So that's, you know, good progress there. I need to be able to make more science. This is still very slow, but I can't make the brain-boosting salts until I take that stuff out of there. Come on, pine resin. Now that we have water here, this should help. Hopefully. But these guys are very much not about to give me more pine resin. Okay, this is still a thing. The amount of bad water we have versus the amount of bad water we need is definitely an issue. It's not a huge problem. It's not a great problem. We're 25% of the way to having the beaver washing machine blueprints, really? Well, that's good. This guy has not yet started because metal fasteners. Do I have one of these making metal fasteners? I almost certainly do not. Tools. Oh, I didn't build. See, I was going to do this. I need to make more of these. I have one more forge I should put somewhere. Mushroom storage. Yeah, I don't have a lot of great places to put anything. I was talking about not putting anything else back down here, but then I have the same problem I had before with not having enough stuff, except now the problem also has beds in it. Which that's not exactly, not exactly great. Well, we'll be alright. We are, after all, making the best progress we can make with the very, 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 very limited amount of pine resin that we have. And now I don't know that we're going to actually have this done before I have to end this episode and go do something else. So that's a fun problem. Okay, I guess we really need to lean into pathing optimization, which means I need to get something done here. Okay. Okay, what can I do? Should I just bite the bullet and start moving things around? Alright. Right here I can fit 1, 2, I can do 3 if I put in regular platforms just double stacked here. And by 3 I mean alchemists. I just have to have these. Like, I am not going to make it if I don't have alchemists. Wait, why is that flipped? Well, I guess it doesn't matter. These can't be upgraded anyway. But I should probably, of course, these require the metal things I don't have. I should just have this. And I can't put storage underneath because that's just going to be flooded, but we can expand the island at some point. This just makes sense for us to have one for everything. And just deal with it. I know it's going to expand the population in stupid ways, but it's going to be okay. We need to have this available, constantly making stuff, more than we need to have not that many beds. The beds can be consolidated with more efficient water pumps and all of these other things. At least we have 1,500 water now, which is good. Alright, I don't even need to bother checking those things, so I know it's not going to be worth looking at. Okay, this is awful. This is bad. But this will be fixed eventually. I wonder if there's merit to just going ahead to remove all these pit tanks and either blast this out for farming or just relocate a bunch of stuff everywhere else. The district center, to my knowledge, is not required to be on ground. It also works as a levee, but that would absolutely be flooded if we did that. We don't really want that. Tank-wise, would probably be substantially to our benefit to... Okay, that's going to be a long time. I forgot that there's not the one you can put up on pylons anymore. So, of course it takes tar and it takes metal fasteners that we don't have. We need a better place to put those. Okay, click the wrong thing. Primitive ironworks. This space right here, I think, is just going to have to be where this goes. I'm going to put one here just for making metal fasteners because this is where the scrap metal is. It's not going to add any more beds. So if I just do it and shut up, that's probably what we need, huh? Alright, let's make a pile for coal, a pile for scrap metal, not necessarily in that order, and then because this space will allow it, a crappy warehouse for metal fasteners. And then this one can just alternate between tools and crude saw blades until I can make more anvils. Did I make a single additional metal cauldron? I did. This one's in progress, so I'm not going to get rid of that. It's just one of those things we should have done a long time ago and did not do. Now, I think I know the answer to this question, but... Yeah, okay, that doesn't work. I was going to say, hey, can I put the walkways on top of the bridge? That's not happening. The long one here can go... Yeah, it can go like that. That'll be a nice bonus. I've got one of these. I don't have a ton of logs, but I am going to want to have these, you know, decorated to some extent. Get some stuff improved. Are we still working on all of this? Of course, pine resin is a pain in the butt. Yep, metal. Of course, metal fasteners are needed for that. 31%. This is still making sunflower oil. It's completely full. I can't do anything else with it. That's fine. At some point, we're going to have to make the incredibly compact library set, but we can't do that without having the library make library books. And the library cannot do library books and science. So, again, it's one of those things you kind of just have to alternate. Large farmhouse fancy blueprints. I still only have one. Why do I still only have one? Okay, they're just slow. That's fine. Okay, paper is lagging again because of pine resin. Who could have possibly seen that coming? Alright, let's just triple speed the rest of this. I want to make sure this doesn't flood. This is slowly... I do appreciate how this doesn't commingle the nasty water here either. Everything waits on everything. We still have a ton of beavers who are out of commission. Not really much more I can do about that because, guess what? It's pine resin. I don't have enough science for the large farmhouse yet, but this is... Of course, that's waiting on pine resin. I didn't even need to bother checking that. I should have known. This does not need to be here. Yeah, just this. This is a mess. Connectivity between here and here. This doesn't need to be here, actually. So this going here to here would actually be substantially improved by putting some sort of something in this area. Thank you, mute button, so I don't have to cough directly into your eardrums. Yeah, I'm thinking I just need to have a basic thing here, and then not worry about this pylon except to connect through something else. Of course this takes pine resin. Everything takes pine resin. Yeah, this can go down here and be used as a levee, but the most important thing is I have to be able to connect to this, which is not going to show me because this is currently connected, so let's disconnect. And that would actually work there. But I don't necessarily want to have beavers dependent on crawling through here if I don't have to. Putting this here is not really a great spot for it. Putting stuff here is also not really a great spot because I have something there, but these are supposed to be going away. This doesn't have to be here, but I won't know range-wise. Okay, if I put this way, that's going to be blocked. So this, I don't know why it lets me do this other one, but it doesn't let me do there. So it'll fit there. I don't think it'll fit here, but I won't know until I move stuff around. Okay, so this is flooding. Let's pause that. Get that pumped back down. Then turn that back on at some point later. Yeah, that's going to be fine. Okay, we do have some that have started growing. Now we only have another 7 days to get that pine resin out of there. I do think it's worth having this connected to zip lines more than it's worth keeping stuff in this exact spot. Like the clay pit does not have to stay here. That can be relocated. This can just go to the ground. It does not matter. Life will go on. This is still connected for the time being while I try to move stuff around. Okay, that is still in range. That's good. In fact, putting a zipline station here may actually be... No, I'm not going to be a slave to the upgrades. I'm just going to put this here. Let's do that. That will give me something to go there. This will not reach here because it is 28 meters. However, Pythagorean theorem, etc. This may... it's probably still like 23. Well, that could go there. This, I know, does still only have the 2. But we're getting somewhere, and that is what matters. So, for the benefit of actually having connectivity where it kind of matters, I will go ahead and just get this hooked up so we can have something that will work. And yes, we are once again waiting for pine resin. But this will make a big difference. And now that I've got this kind of slightly improved and get that reconnected, I can put some sort of storage here. Or maybe something to that effect. I need to find another spot for the clay, which that goes under... I should not have deleted that because now I don't know exactly where that goes. Metal, power, science, automation is under dams. Clay. Where are you? Under irrigation, water pump, valve lodge, shower, tank shower, river bath, bad water, aqueducts. It's not under metal, is it? No. Oh, mining. Duh. Well, maybe I shouldn't take it for granted that that's an obvious thing. So who uses the clay pit and what would be best for this? Location. Well, I could put one up here. That would not be completely out of the question. It's just a matter of actually getting something put in there. I could... Well, no, because that's not going to hold anything in. I could have put something up here if I blew this up more. I'm not going to do that. That really was kind of a decent spot for it. You know, it's going to be fine. I'm just gonna stick it here because it's not worth worrying about. It's really not worth worrying about. Just get that out of here. Come on, get that last thing. And there you go. Alright. That will help. Ever so slightly. And I know we're waiting on that. We're still... Because these are prioritized and they still don't have enough. And these also are waiting on pine resin. And this is also waiting on pine resin. And everything is using pine resin because of course it is. Okay, like, I fear we still haven't done enough to, you know, properly solve a lot of our issues. But at the same time, you know, it's... I should have looked it up. Fruit saw blades. It's just, you know, it's just one of those things. Like, I keep saying it. I know, like, there's at least a few of you who think I'm completely insane. Which, you know, valid. But it really does just take... It takes time to do this stuff. So I think at this point we're kind of, well, I'm out of time to record, first of all. But we're kind of out of options until we get a lot more pine resin. But I hope you can understand, like, I'm putting effort into trying to fix this. It's just, it's not going to be a quick, easy fix. But we will get there. And it will end up being a whole heck of a lot better. Just trust the process. And let it be what it's going to be. Now, if we were really nasty, what we could do is we... what a segue, huh? Is we could put a zipline tower on top of the thing that already has ziplines in it and have like a turbo hub. But we're not quite there. Okay, this is still waiting on brain boosting salts. So we've done basically nothing to offset some of the disease, so I'm just going to say forget it and turn that back to brain boosting salts. 16 contaminated beavers, also not really great considering that one of them is in contaminated beaver jail and the other 15 are just wandering around going all over the place, so you know that's not great. See, I hate building these things because they're one up here, there's like nowhere to put them. But I don't have a lot of good options. And if you put it really far away, the beavers are never going to go to it, and then it's like, all right, well, they're not going to... That's exactly what happened here. Can't put it in the water. You know, I really can't spend any more time doing this, because now at this point we're just waiting. 44%. Yeah, we're going to have to just end this episode here. I appreciate you. I genuinely do. And I know it's frustrating. Just please bear with me. There's only so much I can do at once. I do have the game saves uploaded. If you want to, you know, download it and have at it, go right ahead. That's always allowed. But I can only do what I can do. I'm one human being, and I promise you probably half the people who watch these videos are better at this game than I am. So, as long as we're all on the same page, we're good. I appreciate you giving me helpful advice. I appreciate you guys asking questions that provoke me to think about stuff. That's always helpful. And of course, I appreciate the Beard Boosters who subsidize the channel so we can do everything that we want to be doing here. Exactly how we want to be doing it. And moving forward, I think things are going to get a lot better. We just have to unkink the pine resin. It's diabolical how much pine resin you have to have. But we're going to be alright. And I think we're going to have a really good time the next couple of episodes, finally getting a lot of this stuff fixed up. Whatever it is you're doing with the rest of your day, stay safe, have fun, and we'll see you again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.